Okay, I want to welcome you all. I think this is our fourth community status town hall meeting, and it's nice to see that people are still actively interested in tracking what's going on. I want to thank all of you Lyons residents, Lyons area residents, and interested citizens for hanging in there with us. You are the messengers out to your friends and family of information, and if anything is the most challenging when we're so dispersed is just getting a hold of people and getting them information. So I thank you for taking your Thursday night. I want to thank the representatives of the organizations that we work with. We have the Department of Local Affairs, FEMA. I see Gary Stephenson, who's the Boulder County Flood Recovery Coordinator. Every Thursday night, there's just a whole bunch of agency people that spend their Thursday evenings in our town halls, and it's really appreciated. One of the hardest things at this point, when we have all the good news of the infrastructure that's on schedule and the services that are on schedule, is to get to the most hard-hit neighborhoods and have such an unsatisfying response. It's heartbreaking, I think, for all of us. And I just want to start the evening focusing on the most affected of our community. And I want you all to know you're not forgotten. I want you to not give up on Lyons, because we are not going to give up on you. And we are working every day to find solutions to the hardest problems of keeping our community whole. So in the midst of rejoicing of people moving home, I just want to extend to you a promise that we are working as hard as humanly possible to keep you in Lyons, so don't give up on us. We have started the Affordable Housing and Neighborhood Recovery Working Group. I'm sorry it sounds so bureaucratic. Some marketing person more imaginative than me is going to have to come up with a word. I want to thank Trustee Dan Greenberg, who has agreed to chair that effort. And the first meeting was Sunday. It was really hopeful. There were not only community members who have technical expertise in affordable housing and insurance and building, but a lot of representatives from the neighborhoods and the mobile home parks that were so hard hit. And really to hear what, the day-to-day struggles and insurance and whatnot, as well as the long-term, concern about where will we put affordable housing? Will I be able to live in Lyons? And we have started that discussion. We're bringing in resource people. We're finding sources of money. We don't have an easy answer. So when you hear that the lights are not going to be turned on quickly on your street, just hang in there. We will be going after every possible avenue to keep you in Lyons. Also, there's good news on the private fundraising front. We had a first meeting of it's now a committee, a fundraising committee, of the main groups that are out raising funds. The Lyons Community Foundation, Oscar Blues through their Cand-Aid Foundation, the Economic Development Commission with their Lyons Business Recovery Loan Fund, and the Chamber of Commerce. Trying to not only coordinate, but figure out how to take it to the next level. I have a couple messages from the LCF, Lyons Community Foundation. They couldn't be here tonight. And they just wanted you to know that the Rebuild Lyons One Life at a Time program, the application is now available. You can get it at the Town of Lyons website, the Recovery Center at the elementary school gym, the LCF, the LyonsCF.org, that's their website. The St. Vrain Market has forms, and Salvation Army down at the post office. They've actually moved to the edge of Sandstone Park, and bless their hearts, they've set up kind of a dining area with walls and a heater. So, yeah. They're making lovely. Anyway, the deadline for applying for this funding is November 12th. The maximum grant, this is for individuals and families, maximum grant is $5,000, and there's something important in terms of application procedures. You must be FEMA registered. They want to know that you have registered and gotten assistance through FEMA. And this is something I didn't know, and we have FEMA representatives tonight, but also the LCF is saying you must apply to SBA. That doesn't mean you're going to get a business loan, but there's something in the application to SBA that helps them estimate unmet needs. And maybe, I don't know if Jocelyn can address that, if she knows. Anyway, we'll get information, but please make those visits to the Disaster Recovery Center at the elementary school gym. Those representatives are there and can take you through that process. And the deadline for applying for FEMA individual assistance and SBA is November 14th. Lyons Community Foundation received this past week $150,000 from the Foothills United Way, and that brings their total up to $500,000 that they've raised so far. The Oscar Blues and the Candide Foundation have been moving quickly. They've been giving money to individuals and businesses. Several days ago, they had reached a fundraising amount of about $180,000. Yeah, and they are going fast. I don't know if Chad is here. Is Chad here? No, okay. To give an update. Anyway, the Economic Development Commission's Business Recovery Fund this week received a $16,500 grant from the Longmont Community Foundation. That brings their total to $76,000 to give to in loans to business that are well structured. They issued their first loan to a Lyons business this week, and it's a loan that contains a year grace period, I think, or 2 years grace period, so they can kind of get through this awful closed period and tough season ahead of them. So that is up and running, and you can see John O'Brien. I'm not sure what the John, is there a, for anyone that wants to give to this, it's box 150, Lyons, Colorado. But to make an application, John, I know you're here. Is there a,
He's right there, just to your left.
hey, find John. Raise your hand and, okay. The Chamber of Commerce has launched its efforts that's just starting through the National Chamber and then out to members. So they're looking actually for grants for businesses. And when we met, we did an estimate and set a goal of what's going to take to keep our small businesses alive through this winter. And so they open, you know, and remain alive in Lyons. And we've set a goal of $10 million. We're going after it. We've got some major events planned. We will be issuing, they will be issuing kind of emails that you can send forward to your alumni associations, to the corporation you work for, to your rich friends out there, and we're going to reach way wide on this, and we are going to raise $10 million and keep our businesses alive. Tonight, we have a few speakers. Before I turn it over to Administrator Simonson, the individual assistance of FEMA has caused some confusion and difficulties about the rental assistance and the letter you need from Town Hall and what the next steps. We say kind of register, but then it seems like there's some difficulties in the ongoing relationship. So we had asked FEMA individual assistants, Tim Stanton and his crew are here, and asked them to speak tonight to a little bit more specifics than just come see us later, but to answer some of these questions. The representative, Tamara? Okay. And this is on the individual assistance. As we get used to all these new terms, FEMA has individual assistance and public assistance. Well, public assistance is government assistance. It's the assistance through the Town of Lyons. So when you hear public assistance, that's really to the government. and the individual assistance is to households and individuals, businesses.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tamara Sendral. I had previously been here and I just briefly spoke to you about the application process. So today I'm going to just go a little bit into details. I know that there has been some confusion. When you apply with FEMA, after you apply, there are some preliminary decisions that happen after the inspection. Some of them may deny you for different reasons. Insurance is one of them. If you are a homeowner and you have either homeowner's insurance, flood insurance, or any type of insurance from the moment you purchased your home, that may provide a denial. Inspection, when the inspector goes to the home, inaccessibility, different type of verifications that the inspector makes may cause an ineligible letter sent to you. That does not mean that that is a final step, that you do not qualify. The thing is that we have to comply with specific program verifications that have been set through time. Every disaster is very, very different. You know, this disaster has utilities is the biggest issue. Maybe a different disaster, an earthquake or a fire, pertains to other types of damage causes. So the program that FEMA has already has specific verification, has rules, has regulations that we have to abide by. We have to work around it to be able to meet each individual need. So after you apply and after you get a decision, each individual letter does explain to you appeal procedures or any other step to follow if you do not agree with the decision. Another thing that's also provided is verification requirements. Verification requirements can pertain to ownership verifications, documents such as utilities, verifying that you were at the home at the time of the disaster. I could probably mention about 6 or 7 different reasons that will require other processing procedures after you apply. So it's going to be very important that when you do receive these letters, gather any information that is requested in it. Another thing that I emphasized when I first was here was the disaster recovery centers. The disaster recovery centers, the reasons why we set them up, and that, you know, there is one here in Longmont, is because some of these verification requirements may be different for one individual, but may be very similar to another. So we have to make sure that it is verified on an individual level what specific documents each individual needs. Not necessarily will it be the same. An insurance document, one household may need a denial. One household may just need a settlement. One household may need a verification letter. So you see, it will fluctuate depending on your home, the insurance company, the household itself, and what has happened because of the disaster. Where you're located may be a reason. What type of rental assistance one person may need is different than the rental assistance that another individual may need. So that's why these disaster recovery centers are set up, so we can pinpoint what documentation each individual needs. And the reason why I explain it this way is because I can maybe give a general explanation as to what everyone may need, but not everyone will need the same thing. So again, that's why these centers are set up, so that we, individual representatives, individual assistance representatives like myself, that can verify the system, can look at the documentation maybe that's in the file, the decision that was made from the inspector, and we can tell you what will be the next steps. Decision letters have appeal procedures. Every decision is appealable. And because every disaster is different, we need to know what each individual situation is. So I always recommend, please visit these centers. Today we do have some of our disaster assistance representatives that will be able to kind of help any individual that wants a little bit more personal information, so we can open the file and just kind of guide you as to what you need to do. I know that I was advised that I'm going to take a few questions, so I'm going to do that now based on what I already explained. If there are some questions that want to be shared, I'll go ahead and answer them, and we can take it from there. So if anybody has a question, yes.
What criteria is used to determine whether rental assistance is needed or not, and why does the appeal process take up to 3 months?
rental assistance is something that is approved if you are displaced from your home. Rental assistance, for us to provide it, we have to know where you are renting. It will require evidence. Why does it take up to 3 months? It may take up to 3 months because of the documentation that needs to be on file. If you go to a disaster recovery center, that documentation can be sent immediately. We have fax numbers, we have a mailing address. The time frame of 3 months is usually given as the longest time frame for a rental assistance approval. However, we know that all of the residents of Lyons are in need of rental assistance, and be it may that documentation and the process of a fax or the mail does take longer, we are trying to process it as quickly as possible. But it is important to know specifically what you need on your file to receive the rental assistance. Anyone else? Okay, her question was, how come, knowing that there's so many people displaced in the town of Lyons, how come the the hotel, the TSA, has not been approved for everyone? And I wish I had a perfect answer for that, but I really don't. The answer is that the TSA program, Transitional Housing, is a program that started a few years ago, and it was a pilot project. So when the approval happens, if we could grab a zip code and automatically approve it, that would be wonderful. However, not everybody in one zip code is eligible for the transitional housing. People are with family members, with friends. So if one household is approved for that assistance, but they're already housed, they're taking it away from somebody that may need it. So it's done in a way of, when you apply for the assistance, if you had utilities out or you were inaccessible, you may qualify for that transitional housing. People that are approved.
Grab the mic.
So at the center, they're being told, we cannot give you an answer. You have to come back on the 18th. So my question was, because it's come up quite a few times, is people who are already currently housed in motels and in hotels are being told that you cannot come in until the 18th, when the hotel is telling them that their stay expires on the 19th of October. Well, we know that they're not going to be returning. Why can't we give people peace of mind and say, yes, you're going to be able to continue to stay there? Because it's causing a lot of undue stress for people.
I do, and I understand that. And this has to do more with the hotels. We are given a 2-week period for approvals for the hotels, and we give a checkout date between the 18th and the 19th, and until the hotel says, yes, I will allow these guests to stay another 2 weeks, we cannot create the approval. So it does happen. Sometimes we get the approval 24 hours prior. Automatically, our system will approve it, and then we're able to provide you with the call, that automatic call that says you've been extended for another 2 weeks. And this has to do with the hotels. Hotels.
You may not be able to stay at that hotel, but we will provide you with a place to stay. Because I think that would provide a peace of mind for someone.
And and I know that it would, and I wish if I could change it, I will. And hopefully, with each situation like this, we'll be able to perfect it through time. Again, this is a program that became a pilot program and it begun. But these hotels, they give priority to tourists, and they are allowing us to have our applicants stay in the hotels. And we have to work with them as they work with us. And if they tell us we will only allow an approval 24 hours, we have to work with them as they can. And knowing that that's the situation, we want to perfect it. Hopefully it will get better, and that's what I want to see happen. But we can only do so much with what the hotels provide us. And if I could say you're approved for 30 days, it would be wonderful. But we have to work with them, and that's just the way it has been set up to this point.
I have My big gripe was the fact that when we went in, they said, "Do you have any damage to your house?" I said, "No." "Do you have a car?" I said, "Yes." So then they turned me down. So then one man said, "Well, you have to go and express your impact that we're all moved out." And so then we had to go back and reapply. And it just seems like they're wasting millions of dollars by sending us back in 2-3 times. And as yet, I haven't got a check, so I'll probably have to go back again. And I'm sure that we're all facing that same problem in the town, that they asked the wrong questions. And I had a lady from FEMA that surveyed me right away, and I was pleased, but I'd like for her to survey me again. So thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
So we moved into a rental property. So because we moved into a rental property, we basically lose the income of the rent, plus we have to pay 2 mortgages. But we were told that because it was a second home, it counted as a vacation home. And so not only do we have to pay 2 mortgages, and we lose the rental on the property, now we are being denied on the basis that in fact we are moving into property that belongs to us. That doesn't seem very fair or right, because in fact we have double jeopardy instead of one. We are losing income, we have to pay 2 mortgages, and we have no relief.
Well, this is something that you have to fill out the SBA application. That rental property is considered a business. It's considered an income. If your primary home, where you live in primarily, was not affected, the individual and grant program, which is the program that provides assistance directly to an individual, cannot consider you because you are housed. You are in a home that's safe, that's functional and sanitary. Anything that has to do with that secondary home, it has to be addressed through the Small Business Administration. It does not mean that you cannot qualify. It just will go through a different program.
Okay.
Here. The SBA, the Individual Assistance, FEMA, and I think, is SBA here tonight? I don't know. Anyway, the individual assistance folks are here tonight, so Tim Stanton in the back, Tamara will be here. So any individual questions as well? I think everyone in Lyons should be registered, as we said, because we've all been displaced. There may be different doors and pots of money and different criteria, but please try and make your way through the system, and if there are problems with your appeals, or you just don't think that's right, go to the Recovery Center, and I'm going to, at this point, invite Jocelyn Fankhauser, who is becoming kind of our consumer protection person for individual households. Jocelyn is the chair of the Human Services Working Group. This is the group of community level, churches, the Lyons Community Foundation, Boulder County Social Services, the Foothills United Way, all the agencies that are providing support to citizens through, income, housing, food, the basics, and mental health. And so she has taken on this task. She's doing a great job, and she wants to make a few announcements tonight.
A couple of them are repeat announcements. I do have counseling vouchers for individuals, so if anyone needs those, see me. I have more, and they will be available at the Disaster Assistance Center. And I am going to leave some there in case I'm not there, so you can get them. There is also drop-in hours for mental health, and those hours are
Well, if you want to know what they are, I'm not going to go through them all. I'll leave them up here and you can pick up a flyer if you're interested in just doing a drop-in session with mental health. Or you can go to your individual therapist with these vouchers. I also wanted to address a new resource through Boulder County, which is the resource, what are they calling it? The Land Use Recovery, Flood and Recovery Center. So this is for people who don't live within the town limits. You can go there and get lots and lots of answers and resources that pertain to you, because the rules are a little bit different if you're in unincorporated Boulder County, like in Apple Valley, for instance. So I printed these off so that you have the address of where that's at and what their hours are. So if that pertains to you, grab one of those flyers. Also, the R Center is here tonight. They're staffed. They're outside in the front. They are giving vouchers. They're having a giveaway on Saturday from 9 to 3 at the Longmont Center. They're doing food and clothing, but they also have a lot more resources. They have cash assistance, rental assistance, a plethora of resources. So please see them if you have any resources or any needs that are not being met, or talk with me and I'll get you in touch with them. But for this weekend, you need a voucher to get in, but here's the flyer, and they're in Spanish as well if anyone needs that. It's on the back. And I'll leave those up front too so that you know what the address is. I think that covers everything I was going to announce. Just to remind you, I am physically there on Monday and Fridays all day, and on Wednesday afternoon. So if you have a need and you have a concern, come and see me and I'll see what I can do about fixing it. Hopefully.
Okay, I want to introduce Town Administrator Victoria Simonson.
Good evening. Nice to see everyone. It's always nice to know I'm going to see everybody once a week at least here. Tonight, before we start with our infrastructure updates, we're going to do one more thing. I know some of you are anxious about that, but I want to take just a few minutes to recognize some people that have been working tirelessly on your behalf that often go unrecognized. And so tonight it is going to be my pleasure and my honor to actually introduce to you your small but mighty town staff. And so we want to, I want to take just a little time to introduce you. You probably know most of them already, but over the past month, you may have seen some, like the neon dudes and the yellow jackets, they're sometimes called. Those guys are really obvious to see around town, but you also might not know some of the people that work in the office that are behind the scenes, working just tirelessly to try to get our utilities back on and get you guys home. So I would like to call forward the town staff, if you will come this way, and I'm going to introduce some of them to you so you'll recognize them and can thank them yourselves next time you see them. Come on up. And these are for the boys. I want to start with the administrative staff. And I think, boy, we got a good turnout. The guys didn't wear their yellow. I don't recognize you without yellow and ball caps. Oh, my goodness. They went home first. I'd like to start the administrative staff so that you can, so that you don't have to be shy. Come up here. Deb Anthony is our town clerk. And she is. This is a very small token, but these are just to say thanks a bunch. Jackie Watson, who's our deputy town clerk in marketing, economic development. We have Merlin Williams here from the library. We have, there's Let's see, administration, we have Ariane Powell, who does our reception and accounts payable. And I think that's it for administration that's here tonight. There's also a couple other people. Deb Russell, who is in charge of our municipal court, which hasn't met for 2 months, and in charge of our records. And if you're wondering what happened to all the records in Town Hall during the flood, they're in a big pod sitting outside Town Hall. And so when we asked Deb for a file, she's like, oh no. So she has to go into the pod and find a record that we might need. I think that's everybody. Oh, and then Tony, I guess you're considered administrative. Tony is fairly new to the town. He began as our director of finance. How long now? 6 months? 6 months. He's not going to get his evaluation on time. So 6 months now. And he has stepped into a huge job as our finance director. Hasn't even been through one budget cycle yet. And now he's facing a federal level disaster. We are fortunate that Tony came to us through the Boulder County Sheriff's Office, where he went through the fires last year. So he has some experience with this disaster-related recovery and is a great asset to our team. And then we have a couple library staff that weren't here tonight, Mary Ferris and Joanne Barnard, who have been employees with us as well in the library. So they're not here this evening. And then in our Parks and Rec department, I have 2 of you here? Or do I got 3 down there? No, Luke. Okay, Dave Cosgrove. Some of you might know Dave. You might not recognize him without a ball cap and a T-shirt, but he actually does have hair. And Mike Harris. Come on up, Mike. Mike Harris works in our parks maintenance. They said, do we have to come up and act like we're getting our diploma? And I said, yeah. So those guys are just chomping at the bit to get back out into our parks. As we all know, they took a really hard hit. And we can't really start some of that work until the emergency stuff is done. And so they are just really biting at the bit to try to get out there and get our parks cleaned up. As you know, those are a huge economic driver for our community. And we are missing one gentleman from our Parks and Rec, Luke Ames, who is not here tonight. And then there's Marissa Davis over here, who is our Recreation Director. I thought flowers would be nice. No one expects flowers in the middle of a disaster, so do that. So then last but not least is our Public Works team, who has just been working day in and day out. Our Public Works Director, Kyle Miller, in the yellow shirt, can't miss it, really has just stepped forward to lead this charge, working very closely with Jim Blankenship, who you've met before, our town engineer, who's a contract employee. And he is accompanied tonight by Rusty Ribble and Don, hold your hand up, Don Lunsford, and Stephen Ellsbury. Ellsbury. Okay, now, before they sit down, I don't even think all my staff know this story yet, but on the night of September 11th, not all of us live in the town of Lyons, and there was a handful of us that were there. The rest of the staff were outside the town and unable to come in and feeling very helpless that they couldn't get into town to help. And we had a handful of people that really just stepped in to do absolutely everything that was necessary to save bridges and roads and people. And I don't know if my staff realized that amongst us today there are 4 heroes that actually saved lives. And I want to recognize Kyle Miller and Donnie Lunsford back there, who's very shy, and Rusty and Stephen, who all risked their own lives to go out in a front loader and start gathering people up who were stuck on top of trucks and cars and in riverbeds. And I hope that at some point, and I know that she'll get recognized at a higher level as well, but these guys were selfless in their acts that night. And I know that those families are forever grateful, as well as I am. I won't be able to thank them ever for putting their community and their residents in front of themselves. And I really appreciate that. And Donnie back there, who's really quiet, but so dedicated, doing whatever. Kyle said, yes, Donnie, we can do this. We can drive out here and get these folks, because if we don't, they're not going to make it. And so just really appreciate all your efforts to do that. And these guys, I just keep pushing them. I keep saying we're going to get them home before Thanksgiving. So they are just doing whatever's necessary day in and day out to work on your behalf. And if ever there was a time I wish I could give government employees a nice vacation in a sunny spot, it would be now. But for now, all I can do is say thank you. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. And I'm just blessed to be able to work with such a great crew. Thank you. You can sit down. Oh, thank you guys. You can sit down. You don't have to stay. And so I just want to make sure you all know who's in there behind the scenes working day in and day out and working at these miniature little elementary school tables and chairs that we appreciate so much. But it's kind of fun to see Kyle in those little chairs. Oh.
Yesterday was Boss's Day.
Oh, it was?
Oh, happy Boss's Day. I'm sorry we missed it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, that was nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Those kind of moments give us more strength to finish this deed in front of us. And I heard someone the other day use the term that we're living in a crazy, beautiful kaleidoscope of activity. And it's true. I mean, I thought about that visual of a kaleidoscope and how when you look in there and you turn it just a little bit, everything changes. And really a good analogy of what we're experiencing right now. And then I heard someone else say it feels like a 3D action puzzle. And that fit too. So it's interesting times we're going through. So thanks for letting me take the chance to introduce you to those folks and let you know who's there at my side helping be strong and get through every day. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Miss Rachel back here running the laptop. Rachel Harlow-Schalk was, she was loaned to us from Westminster without ever meeting this woman. They called and said, or Dola helped us find her and said, we have someone who can come and help you right away. And she showed up the next day and just said, hi, and what do you want me to do? And I'll tell you what, she has hit the ground running, helping us every step of the way at whatever I've asked. And she's going to be leaving us on Saturday's her last day to help us. And she's been wonderful. Thank you for being part of our team. We wish we could keep you. So on to infrastructure. I have a few announcements, and then Rachel will go to the map. Okay, or you can put it up, that's fine too. But a couple announcements I was asked to make. Individual household debris, hopefully by now you've put it on the curbside. If you haven't, we really need you to do that as soon as possible. We have signed a contract with Boulder that will extend it a little longer for debris that's in the public rights of way. But if you have individual debris or you still need help with getting that picked up, please go to the Recovery Center, find Ed Keene, come to Town Hall. We need to get you help to get that out to the curb and thrown away, all right? Emergency sirens may be tested again tomorrow at noon. So be prepared for that. It does not mean there is any kind of a disaster or emergency. They're simply testing the sirens. And I need to, Daphne at the post office is pleading that people please come and pick up their mail. She said it is just piling up crazy over there. And she would really appreciate it if we could come and get our mail more frequently. So she asked me to let you know that. The Humane Society, many families in our community have housed their dogs and cats and other critters at the Humane Society this past month. As you probably knew before this disaster happened, they are having financial difficulties, and they really only have funding to house our 180 cats and dogs for about another week. So if you have an animal that is boarding at the Humane Society, I either need you to go talk with them and start making a contribution toward their care, or start planning and thinking about where else they might be able to go after next week, unless we find someone to make a donation to keep that going longer. All right, so I'll have more details on that next week, but it's kind of a preliminary announcement. Or after we get through the infrastructure and you find out who's going to be home next weekend, you might want to talk to them and see if they could take your animal. So, but they are having some financial issues there, and don't feel they will be able to do this for a much longer term. One other subject that unfortunately I have to bring up, though I really wish I didn't, is that when this incident occurred, we were getting ready to send out the utility bills for August, and we did not send those, and we have not sent anything, of course, for September. And so you need to know that if you have an automatic withdrawal of your utility bills, that did not happen in August and September. We are now at a point that we are planning to process those months, and you will be getting a bill. We would prefer that you can pay those in cash or check if possible this month. And if you are unable to pay your bill, that is fine. We just need you to talk with us and make some arrangements, okay? You don't need to expect much of a bill for September. But because of the billing cycle, there will be some base charges in there. You should do that, or it will all 3 months will come out in October. So that would be your choice. If your automatic withdrawal and it did not come out in August or September. When we get back to the automatic payments in October, it will take all 3 if you don't pay it before then. But if you don't want a big hit of that many months, you could pay it in advance. So we are trying to get that system back up and running and try to figure out how we're going to be handling that with all of these different schedules of utilities coming back on. So we just ask for your patience and pay what you can, and we'll try to get things caught up here in the next couple of months. The question was, what's easier for the town, to have you make checks and payments or to wait until the October ACH? Tony? The check or cash would be easier for you? Okay. Okay. Tony is saying it would probably be easier for us to have a check or cash so that you don't get too far behind in case October comes and then you just pay August, that sort of thing. So just work with us. When you get your bill, you make that decision. We will work with you either way. We are the ones that have, you have been inconvenienced in regard to utilities, and we certainly want to work with everyone to get back on track. Hopefully by the end of the year with utilities would be nice. And we are interviewing for that position. If you haven't seen that. Yep. Oh, you're good. It's closed? Oh, you need the microphone?
All right, is this on?
It's on.
The reason we would rather have you guys pay cash or check, we're concerned that some people didn't have the opportunity, the time to get their funds in order at home. They're not at home. So we didn't want to take this chance of an automatic payment in an account that may not have money in it, and then you're charged by your bank for a overdraft fee or something like that. So we're concerned. We're thinking of you. We're going to just try to prolong it as long as we can. I don't know if we're going to do the automatic payments for a couple months. August would have been done. August bills did go out, but the ACH payment would have been done on like September 20th. And so we didn't get that done because of our concern. We didn't want you guys getting hurt anymore. So now we're getting close to we're getting help from the town of Superior to have September's billing put together so we can get it out. And so, we may do this again in November for October and just try to catch up. But like Victoria said, please, pay if you can, and if not, just contact us. We're not going to charge any late fees. We're not. Yeah. We understand the situation, but we need to just get our
painfully
process
too well. We understand the situation.
And for those that don't know, Holly Paquette, who was the utility billing clerk, she had to go back east, go home to help her parents. So she is no longer with the town. And we interviewed today, and we're trying to make a decision as soon as possible to get somebody on board so we can go forward and get them trained.
Okay, thank you. I do want to let people know too, the Town of Lyons is advertising several temporary positions as we go through this recovery period. If you go out to, actually Boulder County was nice enough to get that posted on their website for us. So if you're looking for any kind of temporary work, you might want to check that out. I would much prefer to assign that to someone locally who needs a job. So if you might want to take a look at the Boulder County website under job opportunities. Okay. 2 more announcements and we'll do our infrastructure. One is in regard to checkpoints. Our sheriff is not able to be here tonight, so we are currently planning that the daytime checkpoint will continue through next weekend for sure, the 26th, and then after that we will reevaluate that. However, we are planning to have a night checkpoint until the majority of the community is back at home. Okay, so that's kind of the plan. You will see it lightening up a little bit during the day. I think you've already seen it. They're kind of waving you through a little easier. But as we get closer to Highway 36 opening up, that checkpoint needs to go away. So you might start seeing some lightning during the day, but nighttime will still be there. And then the last announcement, and this is a fun one, and the kids will especially like this. Tell your kids, you'll make their day tomorrow. The company called Vans, if you know what Vans shoes are. Yeah, that was fun. They, through a local, I think he's a kid. I don't even know how old he is. What? Junior. He's a junior. What's his name? Alex someone contacted Vans, and Vans Shoes is going to be at LifeBridge tomorrow between 4 and 6 p.m. And they are going to be giving out donations of shoes, clothes, hoodies, and hats to flood victims tomorrow between 4 and 6. So if you want to make your kids' day, bring them to LifeBridge tomorrow. They'll probably love that. Right? Is that true? Yeah. So those are my announcements for today, and then we can get into infrastructure. We were pretty much on target last week when we met on the dates we gave you, and so we're going to get through these a little quicker than we have been, and make some people very happy who can prepare to go home next weekend with sewer and water. So I'll let you await the news of who that's going to be here. So we're going to start with some general information. See, it's kind of, you're giving up your TV shows tonight. I got to add a little suspense to the night. Let's see. As you know, I said this before, expect that there could be temporary power outages as they are transferring in and bringing on new lines. I don't think we've had a lot of that. In the gas area, they wanted me to say that all homes with water damage need their gas lines tested and inspected by our building inspector, Safe Built. The town will coordinate with Excel to mobilize house-to-house pilot lighting in all areas when the water is turned on. And they have made the commitment to make that as efficient as possible and to try to get gas on within a day or two of water. So they also wanted folks to know that they will be drying out the lines, the gas line ends. So if you're at the end of a street, on next Tuesday, they're going to be drying out the lines. What that means is for about 15 or 20 minutes, you will smell gas. All right? If it goes on longer than 20 minutes, we want you to call Excel. All right? But give it a little time. They have to dry out all the lines. I've learned so much. They use this thing called a pig, and he goes in and he pushes out all the water, and then they dry the lines to make sure there's no moisture in those. So they're drying out the lines, which is the last thing they do before they put gas into them. So that's a good thing. So next Tuesday, if you smell gas for a few minutes, do not panic. If it goes on for a long time, call. All right? At the ends of roads. So when I say that, we mean like the end of Vasquez, or the end of, what else is an end? Where? Long's Peak will have some. So anywhere where there's an end, all right? Pass it on to your neighbors if you talk to them. In regard to water services, again, please turn off service to your home. We had 2 more this week who didn't have their masters turned off and got water in their house as we were testing lines. So make sure your master water meter or water line is turned off. We are continuing pressure testing in neighborhoods. We started the chlorination and disinfection. Our second round of back T testing came back negative. Yay! But we are still going to recommend that people boil water for just for a few days after we get all of the system on, especially while we're turning on different neighborhoods, so we don't have any cross-contamination in that system. So if you're going to drink it, boil it. Otherwise, you might just want to plan on boiled or bottled water for a little longer in your homes till we get all the neighborhoods up and running. In regard to wastewater, They had a lot of good news there. The mechanical section of the plant will be ready this Saturday, fully ready. They're going to flow test on the 21st, and they're going to seed, which means add bugs to the system, on the 25th. And once they start that, we have to have a constant level of food going to those bugs, which means that neighborhood that's turned on the 26th, we want you to flush your toilets. Okay? So you don't know who that is yet, but you're going to know soon. So we need some food going to the plant by the 26th. And then they just wanted us to remind you as well that if anything in that system doesn't work, you may get a quick notice that there's a no flush again, and we need you to adhere to that. And that would come via a website, an e-blast, maybe even phone calls to that neighborhood. But just like electricity, if we get it up and running and there's a weak spot in that system, we'll have to take a step back, okay? Mary? Inside. All of your taps should be off. Off. That's one of the issues with people who didn't do that. The water came on and their taps were on, and one person said they came in and their bathtub was like 2 inches from the top. So taps in your house should be off. Your master water meter, which is usually in your basement somewhere, off. And off means it is not in line with the pipe. That valve is this way. And then at the curb stop, if you had someone do that for you. Okay? So that would be the most protection you could have. All right? In regard to roads, I have been asked to remind people that the town, as we start bringing people home, remains a major construction area. Please be cautious. And those of you who are going home on the 26th, do not just go back to life as normal. Do not walk your dogs down by 2nd Avenue. Do not get in your golf carts. Do not ride bikes in that area. It is major heavy traffic, and if you were there this week, you see how rough 2nd Avenue has become from all of those heavy vehicles. So just remember that we are in a major construction, and that there is heavy equipment, and bridges and roads are all impeded. One of the other things we are going to do over this next week is that we might have some round-the-clock work. We might have some night work going on in town. The town has an ordinance that normally says construction will only be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever. We are waiving that for this coming weeks to get you guys home. And so we have some crews that will be working in the dark, okay? Or in the night, not in the dark, with lights. So I just want you to know that. I don't want to get phone calls saying, there's a guy out here working, waking me up. Too bad. I'm going to have crews working around the clock to get you guys home before Thanksgiving, okay? So those are kind of the updates on that. Rivers. This week the town did, or actually Boulder County, thank you for applying for us, wherever Mike Chard is. We were granted permits to work in the river to put in some berming. And we've submitted that job to FEMA for some immediate emergency funding. And so you're going to start seeing equipment in the river. And that goes all the way from the old South St. Vrain up through McConnell. Okay, so you're going to start seeing that happening now. We have permits to berm areas to prevent future rain from making those rivers come back through the flooded area. So that will be happening. And then we have gotten permission, and the permit we needed to start what the staff have now started calling the Broad, which is the bridge and the road over McConnell. So we now have a new term, a Broad. And the Broad work should start shortly, I'd say within the next 10 days. and will take about 2 weeks to finish. And so we should have another access to the Lyons Valley Park area here within the next about 3 to 4 weeks. And so you will see the river, some changes going on in the river and trying to put it back in some areas and just some berming in other areas. Right now, there are no permanent decisions being made about the river or the creek. Everything we're doing right now is temporary, and it's considered an emergency measure. All right, and that's just the way it has to be with FEMA right now, with the process we go through. We're doing temporary work to prevent more emergencies from happening. And the permanent work will work on throughout the winter, and you'll see other changes then. So, okay, on to the neighborhoods. Stone Canyon. You guys have already read it, so I don't need to read it to you. Basically, water and sewer to this area can happen anywhere between November 2nd and November 16th. So we are saying that most likely the date you should shoot for should be November 9th and 10th to move home. That means you'd have sewer, water, gas, electric. That could be, again, if there's something that happens between now and then, could be pushed off another week, but that's our best estimate right now. All right? And that's including your gas. That's full service, can move home. The next area, which is Lyons Valley Park, is in the same situation. Lyons Valley Park can plan to move home at this point, if all goes well, November 9th and 10th. Right? You'll have to, next week, we'll know for sure, and we'll get you definite times and dates. But we are placing that, we talked about this last week, the temporary gravity, our forced main for the sewer line, and we've connected, the water line was not damaged at one site. So these guys are getting close. The gas boring, the boring that was occurring under 2nd Avenue is complete, and these guys can plan on that same weekend. The next area is the upper elevation, north side. These folks, as we talked about, are going to be the lucky ones. One of them, one neighborhood. You guys can plan to come home next weekend. Yay! Now, we are planning that this will be the first neighborhood turned on, and they are going to have some low pressure. We talked about that last week as well, because of their elevation. But at this point, our water lines are filled, and today they went from just being filled to being pressurized. And so now they're running off a pump at the water plant, and if all that goes well, then you should have the pressure you are used to. If anything in that system does not hold over the next week, then you might experience low pressure. But these guys will be one of the first to move home, along with the next slide, which is the town north. And I think this is really exciting because this means our restaurants can open again. Yay! So again, all goes well this week. Businesses, I'm giving you your heads up. You got a week to get ready. And we hope that we will be able to all go out to eat here soon again and frequent our businesses. Main Street and other businesses in this neighborhood should be up and ready to roll with water, sewer, heat, electricity, and communications by next weekend. Okay, so get ready to go back home and eat out, all right? I know we've all been eating out so much, being displaced. It's like, but go frequent your businesses. The next area, and this one is got more questions still on it, is what we call the West 5th area. This one, I can tell you, your good news is your electric, it will be on tomorrow morning. And, and so that's your one good news for the week, is you guys get electric tomorrow. They have started drilling under the Fifth Avenue Bridge for gas service. Instead of connecting it to the bridge where it was, they're going to do the same thing they did on 2nd Avenue, and they're going to drill and bore under the bridge to put gas, so that this won't happen again if that bridge ever fails. And then in regard to water, so much of this area depends on the confluence area, and we have to run both temporary water and temporary sewer across the confluence to get this neighborhood sewer and water. So until we have a few more questions answered in that neighborhood, our best estimate for you guys is that you, somewhere between November 9th and December 7th, we will get you guys back in your homes as well. Eagle Canyon had their electricity go on this past Monday. Their gas mains are ready to go, and we are having to do temporary lines for both water and sewer to this neighborhood as well. So we are looking at November 16th, 17th area for you guys. Oh, see, this is the 23rd, so mine's more updated, I guess. Somewhere around the 16th and 17th is our most likely estimate for you guys to go home, and with full services, so before Thanksgiving, okay? And then the river north. This week, this area got split in two. Sorry, I know this changes every day. The gas company is putting in new lines to this area instead of just leaving the lines that were there. While those roads are so torn up and we're putting in all new water and sewer lines, they also decided to put in new gas. And that is scheduled to happen the week of November 9th. And so at this point, our best estimate for these folks to go home is November 30th through December 7th. Now, that always has the chance to move, and I hope it does. I hope it moves forward a little bit. But this is contingent on, if you guys picture in your head park, it was torn up because we were going to do that capital improvement project, and we're going to continue to do that. So this will go back all new and correct, and that's our best estimate right now. Now, and on the south part... No, that's the south, but the north part. Oh, I'm sorry, you said that wrong, Sandy? Oh, okay. Sandy said I'm saying that wrong. The north part, the shaded, the new overlay area is November 26th. No, October 26th. Surprise, everybody. Oh, they're going on with the pink area. So the new shaded area is connected to the pink side, and you're going home. You can go home next weekend, it sounds like. It's the south side of this neighborhood that's up along the river that will be out a month from that. Is that correct? Okay, thank you, Sandy. So we have some folks that will be a surprise for them. And the confluence area, we're still holding the same as last week, saying that we're looking at 6 to 12 weeks. Again, once we get the rest of this done, we will focus our energy and efforts entirely there. We'll make it as soon as we can. As the mayor said earlier, our priority is to get you guys back home and situated so that you can be comfortable again as well. And so we will make that our priority as soon as we get the rest of these things done, and we'll shoot for the 6 weeks. And that's kind of the update on utilities. How about questions? Orange jacket. Yeah, on West 5th, the wastewater sewer, it says that they need to isolate it from the confluence area, test and repair the pipe under the 5th Avenue Bridge. So, was that water? No, that's wastewater. Let me look again. Oh, installing a gravity main through the confluence area. So that's why that's out. Yes? Yes. That's yes. The question was, for those that are coming, that I said the 26th for water and sewer, when does that mean gas will be on? We are planning to do that the same day. Well, the 26th and 27th. They want gas to come on almost simultaneously with the water and sewer. So you can plan, depending on the weather, those 2 days. And what we will do is, next week, we probably will maybe have that group stay after this meeting and give you very specific guidelines of how they want to turn the gas on. And so we can either do that as a group, knowing there's a couple coming, or we can excuse everyone else and talk to you guys specifically. Because over the next week, we will work that out street by street, so we'll be able to be very specific with you. You will need the gas company to come in your home. They will have to cut that lock, light your pilots, make sure your water heaters have water, all that stuff. So it has to all happen very closely. So that's why I'm saying the 26th, 27th. For some of you, it will be the 26th. For some of you, it will be the 27th. Okay. I will have those details next week. Yes? The post office, they will have services available, but they need to make that decision. So we will update Daphne after today's meeting. We always meet at 4 o'clock, and so it's right before this meeting, and we'll get that communicated and find out when they're going to open. I have been in discussions with the school, and we're going to meet next Tuesday and try to finalize some discussions. Because the elementary school area will be open a few weeks before the high school, middle school, my guess is they will wait until they're both open. We need that McConnell Bridge in place and inspected before we're going to let buses start going over that. I believe they're probably leaning towards doing that over Thanksgiving break instead of winter break. But I will be able to confirm that next week with you as well, since we're meeting on Tuesday. Okay? Yes. The bridges, it has to be bid and all of those things. So this week we got the permit, there was a design done, and now it has to go out for a bid. And they are saying that within the next week, we'd like to have that contractor in place and then give them a couple days to get their materials and equipment. So about 10 days till we see movement in the river, and then 2 weeks to build it. Status of Town Hall. The original Town Hall building won't be ready for about another 6 weeks. So there's, again, with Thanksgiving break, it looks like there could be a little gap there between the time the school might want to come back and we can get into Town Hall. So we are looking at some other options of where we might be able to stay for a couple weeks, potentially set up something at the visitor center or the Walt Self building, the senior building. We'll be resilient with that. But if the kids can come home, we want the kids to get back in school. We'll find another spot. So, but hopefully it could be that all the timing will work out really closely together right there over Thanksgiving break. Other questions tonight? We're actually going to be out on time tonight. Yes? The status of the FEMA substantial damage inspection. Ron, do you want to give that update? I'll repeat it for him. He's taking a microphone. They are in town, I can tell you that. Mm-hmm. He's over here, right? Okay, his answer to that was they are in town, or if not, will be soon. And they think it would take about 2 weeks to get through that. Every house that was damaged will be inspected. They have to go through some paperwork. They get that to the town, and we should be able to have information out to folks in a couple of weeks. Is that correct? Okay. Yes? Will they let residents know when they'll be at their house? If they can reach them, yes. Okay? Yes, we're going to do that too. I should have done that right after my infrastructure. John McCormick's here to give that update on CenturyLink as soon as we're done with questions. Yes? RTD service, they have been in touch and communicating with staff, and they are trying to figure out when will be the best time to get that started. My guess is we'll wait until at least after the 26th when people are here. One of our questions is that Highway 36, the road is so torn up between the Black Bear Inn and You Pump It, and they're going to start bringing equipment in to repair that. So we got some timing yet to figure out, but my guess is that will be back up in November. Yes? Stone Canyon is pushed back only because we went out for bid this week on the temporary sewer lines we have to install, and that is their estimate. It's a no later than. So again, I might be here next week surprising you and saying you're going to come on this Saturday too. But right now, that's their best guess. Okay? Yes?
Victoria, is there a map on the internet of where River North was cut in half?
I don't think it's up yet, but we have one here, Sandy. Do we have one? A copy of that? If not, we can. She knows where it's at. Yeah.
Tell me your address, I can tell you.
Yes. Hi, Sharon. Yes. Yes, we are actually put out a call for signs to all of our neighboring communities saying we need all your signs that say no public access, not a throughway, residents only, please. We've asked for all of those, and we are planning to put those all along the neighborhoods, both north and south, for as soon as 36 opens and while we have construction and people not home yet. So we do have a full call out for signs, and we'll get those up. So you might have one at the end of your street along Main, going into your neighborhoods, and we're going to try to do what we can to deter people from going into neighborhoods who really don't have a need to be there. Yes? Okay, this gentleman said he had a FEMA inspector come out and totaled their house. He wonders if they'll be back. Okay. All right. Those silos. Okay, the answer to that was it may have been an individual assistance inspector. That's different from the substantial damage inspector, and if it was a couple weeks ago, it probably was an individual assistance. So you should be getting another FEMA visit regarding the substantial damage. Okay? Other questions?
I live in Foothill Mobile Park.
Mm-hmm.
Our home is not salvageable. The owner of Foothill Mobile Park said that we are responsible for demolition and removal of our home.
Mm-hmm. This is someone who's living in a trailer park whose home is destroyed?
Yes.
And they were told by their property owner, our landlord, that they needed to dispose and remove of it themselves. You are, yes. That is consistent with what I've heard as well. Now, the town is starting as the mayor said, a committee to look at options for housing. And we are also getting a copy. Longmont is facing the same issue, and they have enough staff to really research it and are coming up with some programs and ways to help people with that. So we are hoping to get our hands on that and make some decisions of what we think we can do to help people as well. We will try to get some answers on that maybe. Ron, is that something that FEMA, the substantial damage, will have any ideas about? If people can't afford to take away their own trailers? Does not fall under FEMA. Okay. Okay, it's a decision that has to be made by you because it's your property. And so it sounds like we can use some more information on that. I know we have several people that were living in trailer homes that have that question and are facing that same issue. So maybe we can do a little more research on that this coming week. Does that work? Yeah? Yeah, we're just kind of confused. Okay. Yes? Yes. There are plans to continue the capital improvement along Park, which is the replacement of the water, sewer, and road. And the Park Street Alley sewer line was part of that project as well. Now, as far as I know, that has not been damaged. Do you know that it was? It hasn't been checked. Oh, it hasn't been checked yet. She said it has not been checked yet. So what? Uh-huh. But they haven't jetted the line yet, you're saying. So we'll put that on our list and try to get you an update on that next week. Okay?
Certainly if they can go in sooner, we'll let them know.
Yeah. Yeah, if that area opens up, like the next block, we certainly will let you, go home as soon as we can get you in there. Other questions before CenturyLink? If not, is there one back here? Yes, I'm sorry, it's in third. Yes. Mm-hmm. The question is, are there plans to grade back in that same alley where people have graded their yards and now the elevation has changed? That certainly will come. It's not currently one of our, our priorities, but they'll look at that whole alley as we move forward with that project in that area. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. We'll pass that along to our engineers. If we knew what the grade was going to be, they could accommodate that. Okay.
So we're just not there yet.
Yeah, we're just not to that point yet, the individual yards. Other questions? If not, I appreciate your time again. John, you want to come up and give a CenturyLink update? Just want to thank you for being such a wonderful audience and being so patient with us as we go through this 3D adventure together. So I just, again, want to thank you for being patient and cooperative and keeping everybody safe. We've got a good track record to date, and we want to keep it that way. So hang in there, and I'll see you all next week.
Victoria, Julie, thank you very much. Again, my name is John McCormick. I'm with CenturyLink. Tonight I'm going to give an update, kind of go neighborhood by neighborhood, and then I have a handout that I can read through. First, I'm also on a board of a children's home, Mount St. Vincent down in Denver, and there's a boy down there by the name of Jonah. He held a bake sale today, and he raised $210 for Lyons. So Sister Amy Wolcott, who runs that, wanted me to share that tonight. CenturyLink service in Lyons area, and I provided this to Victoria and Julie, and hopefully we'll get this up on the website. Voice and internet services have remained up throughout the majority of Lyons during the disaster. Areas outside of Lyons to the north, south, and west were substantially damaged and impacted by flooding, road losses, tree cuts, and various primary cabling routes in multiple areas. Additionally, along sub-routes in rural areas, flooding cut services to smaller pockets and individual customers via the loss of pedestals. Those are those 2-foot-high things that are in your backyard, side yards, and small cable cuts. Water damage can be hidden, and individual customers may remain out of service due to unseen damage to inside wiring, electrical, telephone cable. People who are returning to their homes, we're continuously working to address these on-premise issues. For customers who still cannot access service, we request that they call 1-877-908-9661. Again, that's 877-908-9661. And this is a special 800 number that we set up for flood-impacted victims, like the Town of Lyons, Jamestown, etc. This provides information to the flood victims to address their varying needs. Everybody has unique needs for repair, billing, account suspension, temporary movement of services, new services, call forwarding. Now I'm going to go through the areas, and subject to the notes on the service description below, all services should be available where power is turned up. If power is not up, residents may try to use a standard telephone, similar to those telephones that you may see at Kmart or Target that are on the wall, the red phones. It's your basic, what we call a 2500 set that plugs just into the telephone outlet. If you have an electronic set that requires electricity, you're not going to be able to get dial tone if you don't have service. So if you're still not getting service or you know your electricity is off, try one of those. Your phone service may actually be up, should be up and working. So status of local areas. Lyons Valley Park subdivision, this area was up as of Monday. Most pedestals were not damaged. All services should be available. Where power is turned up, power is now turned up, as I learned tonight. If power is not up, residents, again, can use the standard 2500 set. Stone Canyon, this neighborhood remained in service through disaster to the best of our knowledge. South of City Hall to Red Gulch, and then to Old St. Vrain Road. This area has been up for about 10 days. Some minor issues at the end of Red Gulch and Old St. Vrain Road areas remain due to clipped cables and some damaged pedestals. Town Central. This area remained in service with the exception of some local cabling restoration to city buildings that was repaired a few weeks ago. We do realize that the area south of town was wiped out. People are, they're gone. They won't be coming back for a while, or working on repairs of their homes. Eagle Canyon, Eagle's Nest. Some service remained up through the disaster. We repaired and replaced services to the remaining customers over 10 days ago. Primary damage and repair occurred at the Planet Bluegrass area, or in the Planet Bluegrass area. Stone Mountain Lodge. Mr. Peter Makuda, I don't know if you're here today. Your service should be up and working. Apple Valley, this area had extensive damage, but it was restored approximately 10 days ago. We do feel that we may have a lot of individual customer issues there. Stagecoach and Blue Mountain, a large number of customers in this area were without service. The area was restored with the splicing of 8,800 pairs at multiple locations. There were multiple cable cuts. The area is 95% in service with group repair tickets for various cuts of 25 pair cables and damaged pedestals in selected areas. Pinewood Springs, repair continues to enable feeder facilities to the Pinewood area. Construction is in progress and nearing completion. Shelley's Cottages and Big Elk remain out of service due to access issues. Highline Drive, Rabbit Mountain, and Redstone. This area had a cable cut a few days ago. It was damaged with from a contractor. It was no one in the city. It was some outside party. During their recovery process, they clipped the cable and pulled out some equipment. The area was restored with a temporary cable solution, and it impacted about 96 customers. Even as of last night, I think there were some customers that remained out of service. Highway 7 Bridge to Boulder, a handful of customers, I believe it is 16, remain out of service until CDOT finishes the bridge repair. I asked numerous times why, and I was told by a fellow I trust very much, John, you need to see it. It's a real mess down there. So we're working with CDOT to advance all the repairs along the way, and as soon as they're done with their work, we would be able to bring those 16 customers up. Next, I provided Victoria and Julie excuse me. Please take one of these that should be up on the website, and I'll read it here. To our residential customers affected by the flooding, we know the floods impacted you, and we'd like to help, so we did set up this special 1-800 number. For existing services, among other things that we can do and perform for you, suspend service and related charges temporarily. Create call forwarding or call following from your home phone number. Provide replacement modems at no charge. Provide credit for service while you are not at home. For new services, we can set up temporary moves to new locations, transfers from existing homes. Activation and move fees associated with temporary customer relocations will be waived. If a technician install is requested at a customer's temporary new location, we'll provide it at no cost, and we'll also provide no-cost new modem to the temporary location. Again, the 1-800 number is 877-908-9661. And I don't know if there are any questions people may have. Yes, ma'am. Yes, from Shelley's Cottages. Sorry, hold on a second here. To Big Elk, the area remains out of service because our access issues. I don't know exactly. You may physically be able to get in there, but you can physically get in there. I don't know where our cable runs that serves that area. Possibly, ma'am. I don't know. I know there's a number of funny routes that are out there, maybe on the north side of the river, or it may be through some other property access. I'm not quite sure. Have you called to report your services out? Yes. The 18th is when they'd restore it? Okay. I'll come see you before I leave, all right? Thank you, ma'am.
All right, well, John will be here after if anyone's got any specific questions. Anyway, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you in a week, and have a good week.